Yes, I started. So now what we are discussing some more register in the microcontroller. Last class we discussed about accumulator and the memory space. Okay, and we discuss what is a program status word and register bank and all those things. These are all individual register, 8-bit register. So the some functional register. Okay, so which is say program counter. If you can see here, program counter is there, and inside a microcontroller. Okay, so if you move to this particular microcontroller, and the program counter will be present inside a microcontroller. Okay, so there will be one register. Okay, so there will be one register in microcontroller, that is called program control counter. So what is that? A program counter. What is this program counter means? This is basically holds the address. Okay, holds the address of the instruction which is executing at present. Okay, what is the program counter? Program counter is a normally 16-bit register which holds the address of the current executing instruction. Okay, that means how you have to understand. Say for example, I'm just working on my laptop. Okay, so whenever some instructions are executed, this program counter will increment. Okay, so say for example, I clicked on this particular, when I clicked on this particular back button, some instruction executed, and then the program counter changed and it is moved to the next instruction. You see, so whenever you do any operation in microcontroller or microprocessor, you know, sequential things will be executed at every time. The program counter will get changes. Okay, program counter changes. You understood? So that means how to visualize. Normally, when you start your computer, your program counter address will be zero. Say if you have a 16-bit address, your program counter value will be zero. Okay, so that means it will go to the program. Okay, it will go to the program memory, and whose the address is 000th address. Your computer will start at this particular point. Then, so then here there will be some instruction. Okay, so that after executing this instruction, so next instruction may be present in say 0004. Okay, then your program counter will change to it will change to 0004. Okay, that means it always holds the address of the instruction which is currently executing. Okay, so that is basically program counter. So in different microcontroller, they use different names. Okay, so but you just understand this particular term program counter. Okay, so which is basically the address of a instruction which is currently executing. Okay, so what is program counter? Program counter, okay, holds the address of the uh, current instruction. Okay, instruction, and this is also you see register. Okay, this is also register. Normally it will be if it is 8-bit system, the 16-bit is the the size of that particular program counter. Okay, so hope you understood this particular part. That means when you visualize, when you have a sequential program counter will like it just increment. Okay, it will just increment. So in the memory space, whenever it finds some instruction. Okay, so it will always points to the instruction, and it will increment. Okay, it will increment. So that is how you have to visualize program counter. Okay, so then one more register is there. Okay, which is called DPTR. Okay, so which is called data pointer. You see, data pointer. D stands for data. PTR stands for pointer. DPTR. DPTR is also pointer, but it is a data pointer. Okay, it is a data pointer. So program counter is a instruction pointer, whereas DPTR is a data pointer. Okay, so this DPTR, okay, DPTR. So for example, in a memory, okay, you may have some data at some memory location. Okay, so you want to take this particular data. So then what you have to do, you have to use data pointer. You cannot use the address pointer. You have to use data pointer to take, to deal with this particular data. So always data pointer, okay, holds the address, okay, address of the data location. Okay, so data location. You see, this is also 16-bit address. 16-bit address. You see, address. Data pointer is also address. Program counter is also address. Okay, and both the things points the address, but the function what it does is different in both the cases. Okay, so these two registers are very important, and you see, the next one is basically stack pointer. Okay, so stack pointer, these are all special function register in the microcontroller. Stack pointer. Okay, so this is basically data pointer. Okay, so data pointer. And the next one, what you have is stack pointer. Okay, stack pointer. Stack, what happens when you're running some program? Okay, program counter will increase. Okay, program counter will increment. When you end a program counter normally holds the last instruction address. Very simple. Program counter will start, at 000th location, and when you end the program, your program counter may be something like E0F1, something like that. It holds the address of the last instruction. Okay, so this much is the this much big your program is. Assume that if you have a subroutine, okay, some function call, okay, or some method if you are calling in your program, that means what happens, the program will shift to that particular function and it executes and it comes back. So that in that sense, what happens, so in between you're calling some subroutine, okay, and you will go to a different point in the program. Okay, so that means you will go to different instruction place and you will execute that particular instruction, and then you will come back. You will come back to the main program. Okay, so normally this is what in every programming language happens. Normally there will be a subroutine calls, or what we can say some function calls. At that particular time, what happens? The program control will shift to some different memory location where some instructions are present. Okay, isn't it? So in that case, what happens? Now see, program counter should always holds the address of the current executing instruction. Now, when it reaches at this particular point, okay, the program counter may be, say 1000th address. Okay, now the thing is, it has to move to different location. Okay, so maybe this location may be, in different, memory location. Maybe, 2500. Okay, so this is the memory location. Now, how it handles? Now, immediately, so whenever it finds that subroutine calls or functional call, immediately this program counter will be shifted to stack pointer. You understood? So immediately this particular program counter will be copied to stack pointer. Then program counter will be given a new address. You see, this change happens whenever you call a subroutine or whenever you call a function or method, because program control is shifting to some other things, or whenever you call some objects. You got it? So now what happens after reaching to the end of this particular function? Then what happens? Okay, simply the stack pointer will be copied to program counter. You see, after reaching the end of this particular subroutine, the stack pointer content will be copied to the program counter, and then program counter will execute that particular instruction. So it looks as if it returned back to the main flow. Okay, as if it looks like it returned back to the main flow. So this thing happens whenever you call some functions or whenever some interruptions happens in your machine. Okay, interruption means something, you suddenly you just press reset button, what it has to do. Suddenly you connected USB port, what it has to do. These are all interruptions. What you do with your laptop or PC or any microcontroller or microprocessor. At that particular time, this is the operation it does. It goes to the subroutine and it performs that particular functional part, and then it comes back to the main program, or some continuously executing service. Okay. Any questions on this program counter, DPTR, and stack pointer, please? Okay. Please do ask questions. Okay. Any doubts on the program counter or stack pointer or data pointer, DPTR? Okay. So these are all internal register, you see. Okay, these are all internal register. So now program counter is directly connected to the address bus. So now how you have to visualize. Say for example, I am just typing. No, I'm just typing 8051 architecture in images. Whatever you get, this is how it is connected. Okay, so in a simple way, yeah. Anything you can open and you can see. Yeah, this is quite okay. Now you can see here in this particular, no, this is better. Okay, this is better. Yeah. Okay. Now this is how you can visualize. Okay. So now what exactly in this particular picture you see? Okay. So now you see this. This is basically address come data line, address and data lines. So in this particular physical line, either address or data will come. Okay. Either 16-bit address will come or 8-bit data will come in this particular bus. And this is basically ALU. Okay, CPU. And what happens for CPU? All the things are interfaced. You see, all the things are interfaced, it's connected. Okay, so now all the things are connected, like ROM. Okay, and RAM, timers. Okay, serial port, parallel port. All these things are connected. So this is a ALU triggered with some frequency. Oscillator will use that particular frequency, and bus control and interrupt control, two blocks are there, which basically handles some interrupts, and the bus when it has to load address, when it has to load data and all. Okay, so this is a simple architecture what you can think in 8051. So if you want the complex thing, okay, so you can refer to this. You can refer. Yeah. Okay, you can refer to this. Okay, so this is a good thing. So where you have all the things. Okay, so you can see all the special function registers. Okay, connected to how it is connected internally. Okay, so that complete picture is available here. Okay, so this is one part you have to focus in microcontroller. So what is that? So normally this part, this is the key thing. You see, ALU, that is actually the microprocessor. Okay, CPU, ALU. Okay, so data will go from temporary registers. Okay, temporary register through the buses. Through bus, the data will be loaded to temporary registers. Okay, and then the operation will take place in ALU, and the result will again given to the bus. Okay, and it appropriately it keeps in the required register, and immediately the program status word changes. Okay, the program status word changes. Okay, whenever you do any modifications in the microcontroller. Okay, so this part you have to understand. So micro program status word is directly coupled to that CPU. So this one you just focus and try to understand. Okay, and all other things which is connected. Say for example, program counter. Okay, DPTR. I just now I told DPTR. So all the things are basically some registers. Basically some registers. Okay. So any questions? No, till now. Any questions? Yeah. So now, so this is basically, what is that? Some important register. Okay. So some important register. And so what will start? See, I said, uh, the program. Okay. So when it comes to program, I'll just, explain in a simple way. So you know what is that program? Program means uh, what are the programs you may be knowing Java, okay, C++, Python. Okay, so all these things are programming languages. Okay, programming languages. Okay, so these are all called high level languages. Okay, HLL, high level programming languages. Okay, so actually computer will not understand this programming language actually. Okay, so on inside a digital platform, okay, inside a digital platform, you have to there will be a program memory. Okay, so you have to keep a what I can say, the binary program. Okay, so you need to load low level programming. Okay, binary programming you have to keep. That's the only thing it understands. It understands only binaries. Okay, your digital devices only understand binaries. So low level languages, what are the low level programs or binary programs? You have to keep inside this particular, digital ICs. Okay, so digital ICs, that is very known. So program HLL you are using. So the next level is it's basically assembly level. Okay, assembly level programming. Okay, assembly level programming. So this is HLL, high level programming. Okay, next one is assembly level programming. Okay, ALP. Okay, assembly level programming. So here you'll be using some kind of here completely like English like language, readable format. But in ALP they'll use something called pneumatics. Okay, mnemonics. Okay, the short words. Okay, they'll use some short words to define the instructions. Okay, so they'll use assembly program. Okay, so then they'll write assembly program and say, for example, uh, some kind of say print. Okay, printf hi. Okay, this is some kind of statement. Say here what they will use. Okay, say they'll use some kind of display. Okay, some say hi, hi, something like this. So now there is different. It is not completely readable. Some short forms they are using, to write a program. And then of course, so if you write the program in pure binary form, low level programming, then you don't need any instruction. Directly you can write a program, but nobody does that. Okay, it is impossible to write a binary code. So normally people will go for this kind of assembly level programming and high level programming, and they will use the converter, and they will convert that program to low level or binary. format. Okay, they'll use some converter. Okay, they'll use compilers or interpreters to convert that particular program to binary program. So specifically, they'll use assembler to convert the assembly level program to binary. They'll use compiler or interpreter to convert the high level program to binary. Okay, so this we know. So now where I'll work. So in embedded C, so embedded C, we will be working on the high level programming. Okay, and then we will start with assembly programming now. Okay, so we will start assembly programming. So now I already said assembly programming is like a you have all kind of instruction in expression and instruction in the high level programming. Like say if you take C++, you have input output statement. Okay, so you have control statements. Okay, you will be having different conditional statements. Okay, you have a different type of instructions. Okay, even in Python also, in any programming language, you have a different types of instructions or statements. Okay, so maybe control statements. Okay, conditional statements, input output statements, like that. Okay, so these are all different category of statement. Similarly, in assembly also you have different types of statements. You see, okay, so like data transfer statements. Okay, I'll discuss in detail when that topic comes. I'm just telling in general. In assembly level program also different types of instructions are there. Different types of instructions are there, like like conditional statements. Okay, some kind of data transfer operation, like that. Or I mean, and also arithmetic no or mathematical instructions. Okay, logical instruction, all those things. In programming languages also you have expression. Here also you have a expression. So all those things are there. So that means now I'll start with some very simple example. Like I'll start with assembly program. Okay, assembly level program. Assembly level program. Okay, so the format of this the instruction. Okay, so I'm just giving. Okay, instruction format. I'm just giving. So this is applicable for any type of microcontroller or micro processor. So every instruction will have two part. One is opcode. Okay, the second one is operand. Okay, operand. Okay, so opcode and operand. So now opcode is basically the instruction. Okay, instruction. Operand is basically the parameter what you are passing. Okay, parameters. Okay, so this is how you have to understand. In the microprocessor or microcontroller, okay, any microcontroller or processor, the instruction format of the assembly programming is basically two part. One is opcode and the second one is operand. First opcode is basically actual instruction. The second operand is basically the some parameter associated for that particular instruction. Okay, so this is the general format of the instruction. Okay, general format of the instruction of the assembly level programming. Okay, now say for example let me take some I told you in high level also you have different types of instructions. Okay, so in assembly program also you have different types of instruction. So one is say data transfer. Okay, transfer instruction. Okay, instruction, that means memory to RAM to ROM to RAM, RAM to IO device, IO device to RAM. You do movement of data, right, inside a microcontroller. Okay, for that some instructions are there. Okay, in microcontroller. So that is basically all those instructions will come under data transfer instruction. Okay, so similarly you will be having some arithmetic. Okay, arithmetic instructions, okay, and logical instruction, control instruction, okay. So control instruction and all those things, all kind of instructions you have in microcontroller. Okay, so now what I'll take, initially I'll take up these two instruction. So data transfer instruction and arithmetic instruction, just to demonstrate how this microprocessor assembly programming will look like. So one data transfer means, say for example, movement of data from one memory to other memory. Say for example, now what I'll do, I have an internal memory RAM. Okay, so what is that internal memory is called? It is called data memory. Okay, internal data memory. Okay, internal data memory. We know we have 128 bytes of internal memory. So that means, I have this memory architecture. So 00 is the starting address. Somewhere 7F middle value is basically the you have 128 bytes, and up to FF you have special function register. Assume that 20th address, okay, 20th address to 30th address. Okay, you want to move data. Say here in 20th address you may be having some 10 that you want to move to 30th address. Okay, so that means you want to move this particular data, the 10 value to 30th memory. You understood? So so that means in 20th memory you have 10 value that you want to copy to, say this 10 you want to move to the 30th memory location. You see, R. Okay, so this is basically data, transfer, operation, data transfer operation. Now, again, we know that accumulator is somewhere in the E0. E0 is the the location of the accumulator. E0 is the location of the accumulator inside a microcontroller. Assume that you want to, earlier your accumulator, okay, is having nothing, some junk data, maybe 00. Okay, so now you want to change that accumulator status to say 10. You want to copy the 10 value in accumulator. So E0 is the location of that particular accumulator. Okay, now you see here. So this is also data transfer. You are transferring 10 to accumulator. You see, you are transferring, earlier it was some junk data. So what you're doing, you are copying 10. Okay, you are moving. Okay, you are moving 10 to accumulator. You see, accumulator. So this is one data transfer operation. Now, if you want to execute this operation in microcontroller, okay, so there is one instruction called move instruction. Move. Okay, this is the instruction opcode. Okay, move instruction is there. Okay, so move here, move is basically moves the data from one memory location to other memory location. It takes two parameter. One is basically the source. Okay, source. Other is basically destination. Okay, sorry, it is reverse. So this is basically destination. Okay, destination. Second parameter is basically source. Okay, source. So this is the general format of the data transfer instruction move. For example, move. I'm just constructing one instruction. Move. Destination is what? Destination is accumulator A. Okay, and what is source? You want to move 10. Okay, you want to move data 10. So normally I told you in microcontroller 10 binary is different, 10 hexadecimal is different, 10 octal is different. So if you have a 10, okay, so post fixing that value which H indicates that you are copying hexadecimal value. And since this 10 is the constant value, okay, hard code value, to indicate that hard-coded value, just you have to use this, hash symbol that indicates that it is a constant value. Okay, so that means when you execute this particular instruction in a microcontroller, 10 value will go and it will sit in a accumulator. Okay, so this is a very small program what you can write. Okay, so that program I am trying to execute in the software. You see, all these things you have to understand to understand the program. Now move a comma hash 10h will move 10 to accumulator. Okay, 10 to accumulator. This is basically data transfer operation. Okay, data transfer operation. We can do much more in data transfer. So using this, we understood what is that assembly, how that assembly programming program will look like. Okay, this is only one instruction. How that assembly programming will look like. So now the thing is, this is move is opcode, and the parameter is basically a and hash 10h. So that program I'll write. Okay. So now to start with, no, I am just closing all the content. Now I'll just so I'll just start. Now see, when you open this particular IDE, what you have to do. So you will get this kind of empty thing. Even I'll close all the project. Okay. You see, no project opened. First, what you have to do, just remember, now this is how you have to execute in a laboratory also. So that's why you have to remember this. Okay, so procedure to work on this particular IDE. So you have to go to this project. Okay, hope you people are following. Okay, so project and click on new. Okay, click on new. So then you will get this particular dialog box. Okay, then find write something like E632 practical or lab, something, whatever your project name. Okay, lab. Okay, so anything you write, and then choose the directory name. Okay, so choose the directory name. Okay, so just I am taking the laboratory. Somewhere I'll just move. You see, so now I just taken this particular directory. Then here the processor are there. Here there is a lot of provision is there to code many microcontroller. Okay, you see here lot of microcontrollers are there. So this is 8051. Okay, so you have Atmega 89C1 normally which is used, Atmega 89C52. A number of microcontrollers are there from different vendors. Okay, so you can take basic 8051, or if you want to take specific 89C51, you can take that also. It works same. So now I'll take 8051. Now, so this is a pure simple microcontroller which will be having 128 bytes of memory inside, and you can do that. Okay, so now you see here what you have to understand and you have to realize. Okay, so what you have to understand is this. So you have taken 8051 microcontroller. Okay, and you know that internally it has a 128 bytes of internal RAM. Okay, so internal RAM, that means data memory. So this 128 bytes is not sufficient to store program. Okay, not possible to store program. It is very small memory. You should understand that. So 128 bytes is a very small space to store any program. Okay, so larger, normally people will write a big program. It is difficult to store that particular program inside this particular 128 bytes of memory. So that's why what they will do. So they will connect the external RAM. You see, so they will connect external RAM. Okay, so external RAM, and they will place that particular program here. Okay, so they will place that particular program here, and instruction will be supplied to this particular microcontroller, and it executes. You see, that execution will take here. Okay, but program is present outside, you see. Okay, so external memory interfacing will be done. Okay, whenever you have a larger program. Otherwise, if a program is very simple, you can keep it as in internal RAM. Normally, people will keep the program in the external memory. Okay, external memory, because you can interface 64 kilobytes of external memory. That is sufficient to keep any big program. So that is how the people will use. Okay, so now here at this particular point, they are asking whether you want the external memory. Okay, so here you see external, say for example, RAM is different. Similarly, you can interface ROM also. Okay, so that we call it as a code memory, correct? Code memory. So that also you can interface to the microcontroller. So how much you have to you are planning to interface. Okay, so you have to give here. So enable this external RAM and external code memory, and how much capacity you want. So depending upon your requirement, you select the memory. So that memory you are purchasing and you are interfacing. So in that sense, you have to select. I am just selecting maximum memory location. So now what this architecture I am preparing for my program execution. You see this program 8051. I am just taking ROM and RAM and just interfacing. You see, if I don't select this one, you won't. This is not available for you. External code memory and external data memory. So internally you have 4 kilobytes of RAM. Okay, ROM, sorry. ROM and 128 bytes of RAM. So that only you have to use. This 4 kilobytes of ROM will have a instruction functions. You cannot use only 128 bytes only you can use in 8051. Now I am that is why that is what this selection. Okay, you selected the processor, you selected the external interface. Okay, so then after that click on OK. The project is created and the entire platform is created. Okay, entire platform is created. Now what work I have to do here? Okay, I am planning to do some data data transfer instruction. That is 10 I want to move to accumulator. Okay, the value 10 I want that to reflect in the accumulator. Okay, so to do that one instruction I know. Okay, so instruction I know. What is that instruction? Okay, so move a comma, okay, hash 10h. You see, so this is the instruction. Okay, it is not case sensitive, but preferably write in caps. Okay, it is not a case sensitive. Preferably write in caps. Okay, and if you use semicolon, that will be used as a comment. Okay, so that will be used as a comment. Okay, so you appropriately mention. Okay, data transfer operation. Okay, say something moving moving 10 to accumulator. Okay, accumulator. So like this. Uh, that the interpreter or compiler or assembler will not consider that. Okay, so now what you can do, see here there is one button is there. If you can see here, there is one button is available. Okay, some kind of rocket button. Okay, so if you click on that particular button, it will go to simulator mode. Now it is in edit mode. Okay, here two modes are there: edit mode and execution mode. So the simulation mode. If you click on this button, it will go to simulation mode. So that means it will compile and it will go to the simulation mode. Now just give some name, say program, okay, for something like that. Okay, give any name. Okay, it always stores with the extension ASM. ASM means assembly program. So file name with the .asm file extension. So I saved that particular thing, and you should not get any error. You see, so inside what is that? The messages, you should not get any error. If any error comes, it will tell. Now it is in the compilation mode. Okay, so it is in simulation mode. Now now what is that? You can see, you can run this program and you can see how your program works. Okay, whether your program is correct or not, all those debugging you can do it in this particular simulator. Okay, now here you see to run this one. Okay, you have the buttons here. Okay, step means step by step. Each instruction you can execute step by step, and you can run all instruction at once. Normally, when you load this program to microcontroller, when you give a power supply, always the program will run. Okay, it won't debug and all those things will not happen. It will run. Okay, so immediately program counter will be go to 00 location. From there the program will be taken and it will execute that particular program, whatever it is there, it will run. Okay, so here for the understanding purpose, you have animate and step run. Okay, step by step you can run and you can see. Now here you have a program. So there is one button here, step run. Okay, this foot mark. If you click on this particular foot mark, then what happens? One by one instruction will be executed. Now I'm just clicked on this particular, button. Okay. Now can you see what happened? I clicked on this particular button. What reflection you are getting? So now let me, okay. So reset this one and I'll just show you. Yeah. Now you see here in this particular place, in accumulator, you just observe. In accumulator, some content is there, 00. Okay. After executing this particular button, okay, after executing this particular button, okay. Now when I clicked on that particular button, now see the status of this particular, accumulator. Now the 10 went to this particular accumulator. Okay, 10 went to accumulator. You see here 10 means you never think in decimal number system now. In microcontroller, never think in decimal number system. Always think hexadecimal number system. So 10 means in decimal it is 16. Remember that. In binary, some pattern is there. In octal system, some things are there. Now you have to think always in hexadecimal, in microcontroller and microprocessor. Okay. Now 10 is basically hexadecimal. Now 10 came to accumulator. Okay. 10 came to accumulator. So hope you understood this particular part. So any questions on this? Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Now you see here, one more thing what you have to observe here, the program counter. Program counter, I told you it sequentially increases. Okay, now try to observe this one, the program counter here. So what is that program counter value? The program counter value was 0000. That means when I start my microcontroller, the starting, it tried to execute present in the first memory location of your program memory. Okay, so when I execute that one, okay, when I execute this particular thing, just observe the 10 is loaded to accumulator. Simultaneously the program counter is went to the next memory location where the instruction is present. So that means move A is the instruction which is present in the 00th location, and 001th location the 10 value is present, the data is present. So 002th location it went, it is searching for that particular instruction at that particular place. You understood? So that is how this particular assembly program works. This kind of reflections happens in the micro controller. Okay, so any questions at this particular point, please do ask. Okay, now so I try to execute some programs. I try to execute some programs here. Okay, assembly programs, and how to run and how to validate, check, all those things we have done. Yeah. So now each and everything you have to focus. You see in microcontroller assembly programming at least. Okay, so even a bit mistake, will lead to the unsuccessful, result. So that's why each and everything is important in microcontroller. Okay, so the control of entire program and logic is very important. Okay, so that's why you just have to remember. Okay, now this is what you do in this, MCU 8051. Simultaneously, Keel software is also there. I told you C15 that C51 you just install that software. So you will get this kind of screen. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to click on the project. Okay, new project. Okay, some project like P6, some project I created. So then search for 8051. Okay, 8051 microcontroller. Okay, so generic. No, I'll just take generic or Atmega, whatever. Okay, so you can select. Now you see 8051 microcontroller generic is there. Okay, and the side, in the right hand side, they have given the the specification. You see CMOS technology they are using, CMOS or NMOS technology. Okay, 32 lines. That means four IO ports and two timer, five interrupts, 4 kilobytes of RAM, 128 bytes of internal RAM. All those things are there. They are giving here, and then just select OK. Okay, whether you want to create a project, I mean, add a startup program, try to select no. Okay, try to select no, and just view the toolbar, like, where that file system went. File toolbar. Okay, so okay, so now it came here. Now what you can do, you can add a simple assembly program. Okay, so to add assembly program, you can click on the source file. What kind of file you want, assembly file, ASM file. Okay, so assembly file is basically ASM file, not A15. Okay, so now what you can do, you can add the item, new item. Okay, so then you can give a name. Say for example, uh, so in source, add a new item. Say for example, assembly file I want to add. It is basically assembly file I want to add. So here there is no option to add assembly program. Okay, so now let me see. Yeah, I'll try to create. So say same instruction I'll give. Okay, so move. Okay, move a comma as 10h. Okay, so this is the program. I just I'm just saving this. Okay, save this file. Save this file as p6 dot asm. Okay, assembly program. Okay, so I just saved it as assembly program, and then add that program here. Add existing file to this group. Okay, so where is that program present? Okay, so just select that program. Okay, so add existing program. Which program? Okay, so P6 is the program. So P6 assembly program, add it to this particular group and close. Now that program came. So now this project is ready. So now you just go to this, project build. Okay, build target. Okay, now what happens? The program will execute if any errors are there. It will throw no errors. One warning is there. End is not attached. You can simply give end. Okay, end instruction to clear that error. Also, just build again. Okay, so no error, no nothing is there now. Now this program is ready to deploy in the actual microcontroller. Okay. So now what you can do, to test this particular microcontroller, you can go to this particular debug mode. This D button you can click, and you can go to the debug mode. You can see here, the complete microcontroller working. You can see. Okay. So now here. This is the memory, and accumulator is basically E0. Okay, so 0x E0. So now here you can see the memory space. So here you can observe accumulator, B register, stack pointer, program counter. Okay, program counter is 00, register bank R1 to R7 is 00. Everything program status word is 00. So entire register memory information it will provide are not executed. Similar to MCU IDE, there is one button called step run. Okay, when you click on that particular step run, let's see what happens. Initially observe program counter is 00 and accumulator is 00. Once you run this particular command, now see what are the reflections happened. Program counter becomes 002, the next instruction location, and accumulator is loaded with the value 10. Okay, and also you can see here the internal memory E0 location will be is loaded with 10 value. So that means accumulator A is nothing but the internal memory RAM location, internal memory RAM location. So the program counter is increased to the next memory location. Okay, so this is how you can validate in Keel software also your program, how your program is running, whether proper IO input output is happening, data transfer is happening, and whether your logic is working. All those things you can debug in Keel or using MCU IDE. Okay, MCU IDE. Okay, so any questions at this particular point? So I'm trying to, in future, your program will be very complex, and so that's why if you are, if you're thorough with this, you can debug any program and you can understand any program. So that's why I'm each and every minute information I'm trying to, provide here. What is program counter? What is accumulator? Okay, so how these two different platform this is giving same result, you know. So all those things matters. Please do ask a question. Now, what I want, everybody should install this particular software in their machine. Try to run this first program in your machine. First program try to run. Okay, and share your screen and let me know whether you are working. Okay. So laboratory marks, I'll just consider that only. Every time I will, see the whether you worked this particular program in your machine. So if you're done, no, I'll update my Excel sheet and I'll provide the marks. There is no other marks. Okay, so you just have to work and show that particular program to me. Okay, so now anybody ready to showcase this particular program to me, so that I can understand whether I have to repeat something, okay, whether I have to reiterate something, all those things I can think after seeing your work at initial points. And later, once you get confidence in this particular IDE and software, so only the thing we have to bother on the logic of that particular any complex program. That's all. Yeah, could you please showcase? Anybody can showcase your screen after installation. Can you run this program and showcase? So anybody ready? So try to run this simple query. Try to run this simple query. So lab, you take it seriously. Exam will be there. Laboratory. Even I observed. 5, 6 years people were coming and they were taking this particular lab exam. After failing every time. So it's if you can't follow, understand, then it is very difficult to pass in the microcontroller exam. Okay, so microcontroller lab exam and all you know you can't write a program if you don't understand the entire thing. At least you should have some sufficient knowledge. Okay. Huh. So we will showcase. Yeah, Muhammad Yusuf is asking, how can I uh, access external RAM and ROM? How to enable? Okay. So when you're creating a project, you're given a project name and you're selected a directory and you're selected a microprocessor. Yes, yes. While creating a project, and select your microprocessor, and here click on this particular checkbox, and just scroll this. Just push this particular button to the whatever RAM you want. Only enabling will not work, so you have to drag this particular button to the end, then only selection. You selected that particular external RAM and code memory. Okay. Okay. Vikram, can you come online? You're done. See, for the laboratory session, and in fact, I'll suggest all of you to log in using laptop only, laptop or PC. Okay, so if you log in using the mobile phone, no, it is useless. So for the laboratory perspective, okay, you can't do anything. Okay, so first thing, and next time onwards, if you log in using mobile phone, I won't consider your participation in the laboratory or class. For a class or the laboratory, you have to log in using laptop only. Okay, so next class onwards, you have to log in using only laptop or PC, not mobile phone. Okay, mobile phones are not allowed, and their attendance will not be considered. See, extreme situations are fine. Okay, Rupam, extreme situations are fine, but uh, only laptop. Through laptop only we can work. Otherwise, impossible for mobile. So, and if you if you're not doing if you're not participating, again I have to you have to come at different time, and you have to you know project your work. So again, you have to spend more time. Don't get into that kind of things. Yes. Muhammad Yusuf, can I give a control to you, Muhammad Yusuf? Very good. Very good, Muhammad. So I just gave a presenter permission. You can showcase and you can speak. Yeah. Yeah, we could able to see your screen. You can also speak.
Yes, sir. I saved this and I ran the.
Okay. So you're able to see the output. Can you run and showcase the 10 output in accumulator? Run. Click on that step button. After that, no rocket button is there. Na? So next to that, that is step run. When you click that particular button, Can you see the reflection? Correct? 10 came to accumulator, right? Everybody saw that Mohammed did it. Can you add one more instruction? Yeah, stop that simulator. Stop that. Click on that rocket button again, just to come back to edit mode. Type move b comma 20h. I mean, no. Say return that a is a10h. Next line. I am telling next line. Ash 20h. Okay. Yes. Now type one more line. One more line. Let us understand. Move R1 R1 comma 30h. Next line. So everybody observe that what Yusuf is doing. R1 comma ash. Okay. Ash 30h. Yeah, go to simulator mode and observe. What are the things you have to observe in this simple program? Of course, data transfer you have to observe one. Second, program counter you have to observe. Yeah, you already in the simulator mode, right? Once that step run button enables, that means you are in a simulator. It is not enabled, you are in edit mode. Click again the same button, that rocket button. Yeah, yeah. Slowly you can execute one by one. Next, again click. 10 copy to accumulator. Yeah, so the 20 is copied to B register, correct? And then click on it, click again. Now see here the R1 register. R1 register copied with 30. You see, everybody is able to see this how that assembly program works and how you can this is how you will start implementing assembly program. Yeah, you can modify there also. Now that means addition to this program you are doing some modification. You can hit there also. Yeah, like that also you can edit. Now that means after that you just modify something. The program counter will now simultaneously it will increase. Yeah. So Mohammed Yusuf, you can add one more instruction. I'll just tell. I mean, you see, some logically we can understand that also. You have to see. Now come back to edit mode. What is that? By seeing the instruction, you should be in a position to move A comma B. Okay, move A comma. That's it. Run. No, it is not hard-coded value. It's not hard-coded value. Something different. You see. Now you can guess. You can guess what this A comma B will do. Move the content of B register to the accumulator. You see. Yeah, run again. B register is copied to 20. Then run again. Run again. Yeah, 30 came to R1. And now you see that the 20 came back to accumulator. The B register content is moved to 10. And whatever content is present in accumulator is erased. So previously stored values always considered as a junk value unless you take a backup of that particular data. So that is always be considered as a junk value. So it is overwritten. So this kind of things you have to consider when you are writing a program. Okay, and you see the program counter value. Program counter value is increased to 009. Yeah, B comma A also you can do. You see. Yeah, good. So this is how you have to understand. That means in today's class, I think Muhammad is bit sure, how to run data transfer instruction from one memory to other memory location. So internal memory is working. So he can move data from any memory location to other memory location. Okay. So Yusuf, one more modification at the end. Okay. So one more modification at the end. Okay. Now what I request, move A comma move just yeah, move A comma 01H. Okay. Now I have not kept what no. Can anybody guess what this instruction will do? So move A comma hash 10H will copy 10 to accumulator. What move A comma 01H may do? Just guess. Just guess. Can anybody put it in the chat box? Can anybody put it in the chat box? Of course, it will erase. Very good guess. It will erase. But what value no will accumulator will take? What value the accumulator will take? 01H is basically the source. Accumulator is the destination. So what value it will take? 1. Gnanadas is telling 1. Yeah. Now, Mohammed, run this one. Let us see what happens. Run this one. Yeah. Carefully observe that. Yeah. So what he is doing is ran that program and is running. So now step by step, A came 10 came to accumulator, 20 came to B register, and then click on 30 came to year. Just a second. At this, but 30 came to R1 register. Okay. So R1 register address is nothing but 01. If you see in the left hand side, okay, 30 is there, na? 0030, that memory block. There 30 is there, na, in orange color. So that is basically the internal memory. 30 is there. That the location of that R1, the location address of that R1 is basically 01. Okay, 01. Let us see what happens. Run next. So now what happens? Of course, A content was 10. 10 came to accumulator also. I mean B register. It's reverse. Now run this instruction again. A comma 01. Yeah. Now what happened? Can you guess? See here. 30 came to accumulator. 30 came to accumulator. From where it came? So R1 was holding 30. The location of that R1 is 01 address. From 01 address, the 01th address, whatever content is there, that content is moved to accumulator. Can you see what kind of data transfer happened? The content in the 01th address is moved to accumulator. Okay, in first case, what happened? The content 10 itself is moved to accumulator. So this is this kind of data transfer you can do using microcontroller. We can explore, and we can discuss many data transfer operation in future. Okay, so hope you're clear. None of us bit clear on this. Yeah, of course, it erased. Erase has no meaning in microcontroller digital world. You see, delete, erase is having no meaning in the microcontroller or microprocessor. In fact, in any digital device, okay, erase has no meaning. So simply that pointer, see, storing file in your laptop, it just holds some starting and ending starting address, ending address of that particular file, and deleting means erasing that pointer. Very simple. Okay, erasing the data pointer is basically deletion of the file. You see, so that means that content is there in the hard drive. Okay, content is there in the only address is deleted. Okay, so that you have to understand. So this is the proof that no, there is no meaning for erase in or delete. Delete means what? Some things will be there in register. At least 00 or FF or whatever. Okay, something will be there in any register. So there cannot be something like void content. So erase and delete is not having any meaning. Okay, so that you have to be sure. Okay, so Gnanadas, hope you are clear. Okay, so how this data transfer? So can anybody want to showcase your screen, please? Anybody? Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. Good work. So anybody installed this, MCU 8051? Yeah, Gnanadas, would you like to showcase, Gnanadas, your screen? Yeah, so I'll just give the permission and So I just give the presenter permission. Yeah, you can project your screen. Good. You can explain. Now you see you can do any modification. You can try playing with this data transfer instruction, and you can work. Keel you installed Nanadas? Keel C51?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Now can you move some content from R1 to R2? So you understood my question, na? So you want to move some content from R1 to R2. Very good. So R1 to R2. So you are moving R2 content to R1. Yeah. Now there is error. Okay. So when you see this red mark, in the left hand side, that means that instruction does not exist. Okay. So now you see there is a problem. How you address this particular problem? How you address this particular problem? Move R1 comma R2 is not working. How you solve this? So you want to move the content of R2 to R1, right? You're planning to move this 30 to R1, correct? That is what you are thinking, Ganadas?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, what logic you will use now? You can you use the hint is can you use the accumulator as a intermediate register as a temporal register, and how you do that operation?
Yeah, this one B, sir. We can add the movie and
Yeah,
can we do that?
can you do that? Can you do that? Move first. What you want to move? Gnanadas, you want to move from R1 to R2 to R2 to R1.
Anything related to R1 to R2, sir.
So R1 content you want to move to R2, right?
Yes, sir.
So then this first one is always destination, na? In move instruction, always first one is destination, na?
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. And but again, this is also not working. Now what you do? So here, this is how the logic you have to use. First, before doing this, move that R1 to accumulator. Before this, move R1 to accumulator. Okay, after R230. After R230, what you do? Move, okay, move A comma R2. A comma R2. So that means 30 will come to accumulator. Okay, then next instruction, move R2 comma A you give. Same, the existing instruction you modify. That R2 comma R1 you modify. So now what you do? Move R1 comma A. Okay. Now this instruction is not having any error. Okay, so now can you run this program and validate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes. See, this is how you have to think logic in microprocessor and microcontroller. You can't use R1 to R2 directly. You can't move from one memory location to other memory location directly. Now run. So first instruction is step run. Okay, click on that step run. So okay, everything happened. Yeah, correct. That 30, that R2 content came to R1, correct? Earlier it was 20, now it become 30. Okay, everybody understood. Nanas, you understood the logic here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now at this particular point, you have to understand that most of the instruction, microcontroller and microprocessor instruction happens through this accumulator. Okay, accumulator is always busy. Okay, so for this kind of logic, we always tie up this accumulator. So that's why accumulator is a very important register in the microcontroller. Most of the instructions in microcontroller or microprocessor is associated with the accumulator. Okay, associated with the accumulator. Now, for river, just to do some groundwork, Nanadas, can you click on help? Help menu. Help menu. Is there any something like uh, yeah, can you come to tools or something like that? So instruction set, something like that you don't have? Can you go to utilities? Utilities, 8051 instruction table. Okay. So this many instructions are there in the 8051. Okay, so these are the instructions what you have. Okay, so we are using some only this what is that the data transfer instruction. Okay. Yeah, well, I'll discuss. Now you see the possible syntaxes they have given. Okay, so arithmetic add instruction, decrement instruction, jump instruction, call instruction, okay, or instruction, and instruction. Lot of instructions are there. All those things we will discuss, one by one. Okay, so thank you, Gnanadas. Good work, good work. Okay, so anybody want to share your screen? See, some small things we are learning. You see, when we worked on Muhammad machines, we tried different data transfer things, and in Gnanadas machines we try to work on some errors. You see, when error comes, how it looks and all those things. Okay, some impossible instructions how to tackle. So that kind of things also we worked in Gnanadas machine. Anybody want to project your screen? So anybody want to project your screen? I'll be using some multiple screen sharing applications, and I'll be seeing all your machines, simultaneously. So you prepare for that kind of environment because it has to work. It has to work, and you should work on this, microprocessor or microcontroller. In all respect, it is good that if you learn this. Anybody want, anybody want to share your uh, screen? Anybody installed and worked on this? Anybody worked on Keel? Keel is a very robust, tool, and you can write ARM programming and whatnot. All the things are there. Proteus, for this kind of embedded system, very good platform. So you should explore. Okay, if you are doing Arduino boards, then you are in primary school, fifth standard or sixth standard. Never use. Okay, if you are using Raspberry Pi, then you are in some 10th standard. So we are all in 10th standard. Now we have to, go to the next level. So do this kind of microcontroller, your own programming, burning that program to microcontroller, preparing the PCBs and manufacture that and use it for your application. That is what I just want somebody to do. Okay. Otherwise, definitely, if you learn all these things, you will definitely get a opportunity in semiconductor industries. Really, semiconductor industry, the people who are working in semiconductor companies, their career will be very good. Pay scale will be very good, and the challenging project, that kind of thing. Product companies, right, never comes down. So that's why, try to target some semiconductor industries like Intel, okay, Analog Devices, like that, National Instruments, something like that. These people, required this knowledge. Okay. So anybody want to showcase? Yeah, so let me take attendance. See, I'm telling you, the next class onwards, even in class also, I will give some programs. I will, ask you to run some programs, not, every week. Okay, so every time demonstrations will be there. You may have to showcase your work. Never, log in using the mobile phone. Okay, so next class onwards, there will not be any attendance if you log in using your mobile phone. Okay, so that you have to be very clear. Okay.